everybody. This is Danny from Deep South Homestead. Wanda and I are out in the garden this morning. Guys, we've got to cut broccoli. We got freezing temperatures coming in here tonight, and we've got nice heads. They're not as big as we would really like, but we've got some disease issues starting here in the Deep South, which is really common. It's nothing unusual. We've had a lot of rain and moisture and heat and cold and heat and cold. Now we're going to drop down to freezing temperatures, so we're going to try to get the main heads out, and we're going to leave the shoots to produce later on, where we can go back and harvest them. And there are some of them that already have shoots on them, so we're going to take those off also. And Ms. Wanda a little bit later will be showing you what we're going to do with this broccoli once we harvest it. Now, we didn't do a lot of broccoli this year. This has really been an experiment this year on the black ground cover that we got from Grower Solutions. It's really worked out well for us. I think it's something we'll probably do in the future. No dirt splattered up on anything, no bunch of weeds or nothing like that. The plants aren't competing with anything to grow. We just need to get these heads off because of the freezing temps, and they're okay. They're decent sized heads. Our big thing we're looking for here is lack of minerals in the soil as we harvest, because if we cut this head off, if the broccoli stem is hollow in the middle, we know we have a boron deficiency in the soil. This is something we don't get in a soil test unless we specifically order it, and it costs a lot more money. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut this thing down here, because look, the broccoli stem itself this part is edible too now. But see that? See this? It's not hollow in the middle. So we know on this particular plant in the soil here, we don't have a boron deficiency. And this head fits perfectly in the palm of my hand. It's about a 4-inch head, which is really nice. Now we also, looking down in here, I'm noticing underneath here, I've got some little shoots coming up. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take that off, because these, along with these little young leaves, is some really nice eating. So I don't see any more on the plant. But what we're talking about here, another reason we're harvesting is, see this right here around the edges of the leaves? This is a disease in the soil that we have. It's called black rot. And then it's kind of really hard to distinguish if it's that or if it's a potassium deficiency. We're looking at the browning of the edges of the leaves and stuff. There's no yellowing in the V shapes and the veins on this one, but this could be either black rot or a potassium deficiency. Nevertheless, next year we'll move them to another spot just to be safe. Now we're going to leave this plant because it'll continue to put little shoots out on the sides here. As a matter of fact, there's little ones under it right now, and they'll make little broccoli shoots, and we'll come back and get them to eat with maybe some cheese or put in a salad or something to that nature. So we're going to move on to some of these other plants. These leaves are really bad here. They are the disease is hitting this pretty bad, all up in here. So we're going to go ahead and try to get this head out of this one. We pull it up and look. See, there's no boron deficiency here. There's no hollowness in the leaves. We're going to get this leaf off. Look at that. That's a nice size head. That head's big as my whole hand. I got a pretty good size hand. Now when we look in here, down below it here, this is what we're talking about here. See this little shoot right here? These are really, actually they're more tender than the big ones are. Those are really nice. They're called flowerets. We've got another one over here. I'm going to go ahead and get it. This is another sign that the plant has reached maturity. But as I look in here, I still see a bunch of little young shoots coming out down there. So we're going to just leave the plant. Now we'll probably come back. I do this quite often. We'll come back and we'll probably we'll just take a little time and go through here, and we'll take these leaves off and we'll feed them to the chickens. Because the chickens, this is really good calcium for them. But you can see around the edges of the leaves what I'm talking about, the problems we're facing here. That can be either potassium deficiency or the black rot in the bottoms of it here. And when you look over further, I'll show you. When you start to see these internal lesions in here. That also lets you know there's probably not potassium. It's probably black rot when you flip it upside down and you see these lesions in the leaves. It's probably black rot that's actually hitting. If you want to harvest something like broccoli in big old heads, Hoss tool bucket here. This thing is ideal for picking things like broccoli in because it's big. There's plenty of room in it. We use it for oranges, apples, tomatoes, pears, all kinds of things like that to pick in, blueberries, but it's also really good for broccoli. So check out Hoss Tool Company and get you one of these buckets because I'm going to tell you, they're worth it when it comes to something like this. And it'll be in the link down in the description down below. Check on it. We are an affiliate for them. If you go through us, it don't cost you any more, but we get a couple of bucks off of it. So check them out, guys. This is how we know we've reached maturity. Up underneath the bottom edges of it, the little flowerets are starting to create little yellow flowers. This thing couldn't have stayed here another couple of 3 days. All the way around it, flowerets are starting to form. It would begin to flower here really soon. So it's time to get it off. There we go. No boron deficiencies. Yeah. We got a bunch of little flowerets in this one. Look at that. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that. Okay, a lot of y'all are wondering, I know you're going to ask this question, so I might as well go ahead and address it. Why are my broccolis inside tomato cages? Well, there's actually several reasons why. One, we put these tomato cages down on top of our ground cover. There's drip irrigation underneath it, and we had to try to line this stuff up and punch the holes through here and not hit our drip irrigation. And if we pull it up, weeds are going to come up through these holes. You see right here how these weeds are? Everywhere there's a hole in that ground cover, like right here, weeds come up. And if we decided to leave the ground cover down and plant tomatoes again, then we would have to just try to put all this back down. Secondly, people have, especially, there's a big issue with deer eating off broccoli. And as long as it's in these cages, we don't have a problem with deer coming up here trying to eat them. We lost all of our broccoli one year to rabbits. And since it's been in these cages, there's something about these cages that rabbits just don't seem to want to come up in here and go in the cages. So there's really a 2 or 3-fold reason there. Mainly, we just didn't want to take the cages up, and we wanted to see if it would keep the other animals from actually bothering our broccoli, which it has done this year. At the tip of the knife blade there, guys, is cabbage worms. See him right there? As cold as it is, look at that, he's on the tip of my knife blade. We have baby cabbage worms starting on these broccoli plants, and in the winter time, and it's been cold. So these little boogers, look at him. they're not immune to cold weather. So this is another reason we're trying to get this stuff over here, is before these actually start getting to the head of the broccolis. All right, we're down to our last one here. This one was just about to be gone too far. Yep. You see how they start making these long branches like little trees? Long ones coming up there. This one's just about gone too far. It's fixing to be tough. And you can tell when you cut into it, yeah, it's real woody. So, yeah, it's real woody. So we probably will have to cut these up kind of high on these type. Last little flower head out of here. All right, it's kind of heavy. This concludes our broccoli harvest for this portion of time. We have other ones planted that hadn't got just little small heads on them. We're gonna let them stay. And these will come back out and make more shoots, so we'll be keeping them. But guys, look at this. That's gonna be some good eating. I'm gonna hand these over to Ms. Wanda. Let her take them to the kitchen and begin to prepare them for us to eat and to put in the freezer and whatever else she wants to do with them, so that we'll have broccoli for many months to come. Well guys, before I left the garden, I wanted to show you our cabbages growing on the ground cover. This is really working out really nice for us. These things are just awesome. They're making nice pretty heads. They're just beautiful. Now we are fertilizing. Somebody's going to ask, what are we fertilizing them with? We fertilize them with a liquid fertilizer. So you can get it from Hall's Tool Company. This stuff is doing fantastic, guys. So black ground cover in the wintertime and cabbages at Deep South Homestead is definitely a win-win situation for us.
Hey guys, I'm Wanda. So we're in the kitchen. Danny just harvested all this broccoli. So I've got to do something with it. These heads are gorgeous. And we're not going to throw most of these stems away either. Got a few ideas for stems. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to soak them. Out in the garden we found a little worm on some of the leaves, and we found a stink bug. Even this time of the year, this is January, we found a stink bug. So I'm going to soak these in salt water. And guys, it pays to have big things around like this. This big bowl. Angie's Pantry sent me this bowl. She said she knew Deep South would have some reason to use this kind of bowl. This thing is huge. I don't even know how many quarts it holds. It's gigantic. We have dish pans. We have all kinds of things. But I like this bowl. It's got handles on it. It is a Tupperware bowl. So if you need big things like this for your harvesting, check out Angie's Pantry. Tell her Wanda sent you. I'm going to take these broccoli heads and I'm going to lay them over in this bowl. Then I'm going to take just regular salt, any kind of salt you have, whatever you want to do. And I'm just going to sprinkle it literally all over the place in here. Probably half a cup or better of salt. And the reason is to get these little creatures to come out of this. I don't want to have things hide because broccoli, the way it's all up in there, you could have a bug in there and not even know it. So you don't want that. This one was fixing to flower. So we're going to pile them in here, add some water, and add a little more salt. And we're going to soak them for a while, probably about 30 minutes to an hour while we're doing something else. And I'm going to come back and show you some of the processes we do to have broccoli for a while. Okay, so we use cold water. This is well water, not chlorinated water. And we've added our salt. We're wanting to make sure these heads are under the water. And any bugs or anything, any worms, anything like that will start floating up and you will see them in the water. You can pour them off after a while. We're going to leave them sitting here for a while. And that's one reason we use this big blue bowl. It holds a lot. The broccoli has been sitting in this salt water for about an hour. I'm going to take out a couple of these and I'm cooking them for lunch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them off at just at the base of it where it hits the main stem. And we're going to use the broccoli heads, these florets, for lunch, and I'm going to be steaming them. I have this pot that has just a little bit of water in it, about maybe half an inch in the bottom. What we're going to do, we're going to be using this. If you've never seen one of these, it has little feet on the bottom that keeps it up out of the water. And this, you can see the indentions, it folds out. It is like it's got all these holes in it so water and steam can go up through it. And you just fold it up for storage. What we're going to do, we're sticking it in here and let it fit my pot. If you had a bigger pot, it'll fit different size pots, but this is the pot that I wanted to use in order to steam my broccoli. One thing I do want to do before I put this in there, add a touch of salt. As it steams, it'll give it a little bit of flavor. Okay, so I'm going to cut each of these off like that. And the reason I'm doing it this way, cut it off, I've got another use for some of this. We don't throw that away. The animals would eat it, that's for sure. But these little florets, I just kind of cut into it and break them off. And we have several florets here when I get through. And I'm going to get another one. We're going to do 2 heads today. Okay, I didn't quite get that one cut. And it just comes apart in pieces. We're going to take this and put in here. And what you do, you set your stove on close to high because you're going to boil, and you're going to steam this for just a few minutes, probably less than 10 minutes. We have a lid that's going to go on here, and then we'll serve it with our lunch. The stems that we have left, we're not throwing away. I took the kind of woody parts off. I didn't really peel it, but I peeled some of the bigger parts, the woodiest parts of it. And we're going to use these. You can, if you have a slicer or something that will shred these, you can shred them. You can slice them. You can cut them up in giblets. Any way you want to process these, they're good to add to anything, but they're good in salads. If you shred these, you can make what is called a broccoli salad with carrots. You can shred a couple of carrots, shred these. It's an awesome salad. Add a salad dressing of some sort, and it's wonderful. So you can make shredded broccoli salad. I use them, like I said, in salads. I love giblets of broccoli added to salads. This can be stored if you wanted to, chopping it up into smaller pieces, putting it in a storage bag. It would last in the refrigerator for maybe a week. You can freeze these and take them out and add them to soups. You can make cream of broccoli soup if you wanted to, or any kind of thing. Add in this. You can puree this after you boil them down. Puree them, make soups. It's endless, guys. Endless with broccoli. All of this our chickens will love, and our pigs. They will eat all the little giblets here. They don't mind anything like this. Great animal food. I've got it where you can see the bowl. The only thing that I see floating in here is little bitty pieces of broccoli, which is edible, and some of the flowerets that were starting to come up, like right here. That would be where it had started to want to bloom out. I've looked. I see absolutely no worms, no bugs, nothing, which tells me that they had not made it into my broccoli heads, which is awesome. There's a little bit of a leaf, but other than that, we were bug free, guys. You see how green and beautiful? We're going to hold the heat in for a few minutes till I get a plate ready. We're going to drop some cheese on it. Quick, easy way just to have fresh broccoli. Look at these beautiful broccoli flowerets. Y'all, this bowl is full. I'm not through yet. I still have about this many to go. We've got all these stems that I will be turning into some shredded or something to go in the freezer for making broccoli soup or something like that. I will add a few to a salad later. Guys, broccoli. Nothing better than fresh broccoli. I use gallon Ziploc bags and I write the date and what it's in it. And I package my broccoli. I do not process it in any way. It's fresh, just soaked in salt water. I don't overfill the bags because I kind of want them to lay down like this. And we should have at least 4, if not 5 gallons of broccoli when I get through. All right, we have 4-gallon bags. This will be about, each gallon will be about 3 meals. So that's 12 meals of broccoli, plus I have some in a pot, which will be lunch today. And then we're going to work with the stems. All right, guys, isn't that beautiful? We're going to add some salad dressing to that and make a broccoli salad. I've added a little bit of ranch dressing and some shredded cheese. We're going to mix this up and we have a broccoli and carrot salad. I used a shredder and I cut these in pieces like this, and I'm going to freeze them. I'm going to boil them later, and as I need broccoli in something, I will add this to it. These are the stems. It makes them a lot more tender, and you can boil this down and run it through a food processor and make it into a soup or add it to anything as a thickener, just because you need the veggies from the broccoli. 3 quarts, and I put just enough what I thought I would need to make a soup or add to something in each bag. So I have 3 quarts of the shredded stems
from the broccoli.